Loser, and I'll be doing my recap for episode 3 of season 11. And this is brought to you by Biggest Loser Resort at Fitness Ridge. Let me start off by saying that who are these new trainers? What's going on with them? You know, I'm dying to find out. It's been 2 episodes already. Don't know who they are. Finally, the show decides to unveil the trainers. First of all, we have Sarah Castronova, who is a boxer. I've actually heard of her. She's been, excuse me, boxing since she was 20 years old. Number 2 in the country at one time. She was ranked. Plus, she won 2 Golden Gloves in New York. You know, New York. I'm a New York boy at heart. You also have Brett Hobel, who's a martial artist. I love martial arts. I studied capoeira and Muay Thai. I love Muay Thai. I've done mixed martial arts training myself. And that's actually what really helped me rip off those pounds at home, was I went back to my mixed martial arts training. Who knows? Maybe I would have lost more if I did that on the ranch, but it is what it is. And he also has a science background, which I have as well, and I have a very big interest in science, and there's a science to losing weight. I mean, I did everything meticulously. I mean, I wrote down everything, I calculated everything, and I think that was one of the keys to my success in my season. So I think that's one of the reasons that the Unknowns are doing so well, is because of the science and fighting backgrounds that these 2 trainers have. But there's a little dissension among the ranks with the Unknowns. You know, they have a sit down. The yellow team kind of rides some of the other contestants, like Austin and Q, who they feel haven't been pulling their weight, so to speak. And, you know, we'll see what they can do this week. You know, it may seem like they were attacking them, but they're really trying to help them, really trying to motivate them. You have the first challenge of the week, and the winner of the challenge, nice dinner with Curtis Stone. He's a phenomenal cook. I've eaten his cooking on the ranch. That's a nice prize to win, but you also have a chance of winning a 2-pound advantage for your team, which is huge at any point. I mean, next to immunity, a 2-pound advantage, or any pound advantage, is the biggest prize that you can get. Now, a little trick to this thing. You have to balance an egg on a frying pan. Only Allison flips it over. It's the back of the frying pan. Not too easy. Now, the Unknowns are going head-to-head with the Ranchers, and there's actually a divider between them so they can't see each other. So what do the Unknowns decide to do? They want to let Denny win because she's deserving of having a chance at that 2-pound advantage. So they all flick their eggs over their shoulders, over the divider, and smash into the Ranchers, kind of egging them on, so to speak. And the Ranchers, you know, they're fighting for that 2-pound advantage, and Marcy ends up pulling it out. Although Irene kind of got a little back at them when she flicked the egg back over at the Ranchers. At the Unknowns when she was out of the competition. So, you know, you cut to the dinner with Curtis. As always, he has phenomenal foods, phenomenal ingredients. And this was actually one of my strengths, was calculating calories. I actually won the blue team, when we were in black and blue, a challenge by calculating calories in a dessert, which was a huge advantage for my team by winning that challenge. Now, they have to guess the calories in the entire meal. And they weren't that far off, but they were over 100 calories off, or about 100 calories off. And Marcy ends up winning that 2-pound advantage for her team, which is, like I said, is huge at this point of the competition, or at any point of the competition. And we also have the second round of Dr. H's interviews, or yellings, not really yellings, but yellings at the contestants. This time it's the Unknowns. Now, the Unknowns are just as bad as the Ranchers were. Health-wise, you have Rulon and his partner, both over 40% body fat. Austin, at 20 years old, I feel so bad for this kid. 20 years old, he's pretty much almost worse off than his father is. His father, who's more than double his age. Now, when you take age into account, or the inner age, Austin's actually 44 years old, more than double his age, and he's in bad shape. You have Moses, who is at a 49% risk of stroke in the next 5 years, and has, according to the estimation, less than 15 years to live. I mean, when you hear that, that's got to scare you. You also have Sarah, who's the highest body fat percentage of anybody there, the least amount of muscle mass. She's 58% body fat. When I went in, I was 45% body fat. You know, I was along the lines of like Rulon and Justin. I mean, 58% body fat, just such an extreme lack of muscle. That has to make her work that much harder. I know that would spur me on. You know, and you have a lot of people this week who are starting to really find their own and kind of rediscovering themselves. You have Hannah, who's a former volleyball athlete in college. I mean, formerly fit, phenomenal athlete. And she just went down the same slippery slope that Rulon seemed to have gone down, where you go into one extreme in the sport, and then you go in the other extreme in unhealthy living. And she really wants to reclaim that former glory. You have Dan and Don, who Jillian has picked up that they're just not really engaged in the competition. They're just kind of removed themselves. And a lot of it has to do with Dan suppressing his emotions with what has happened with his family. So, you know, everyone really has to kind of come into their own now and rediscover themselves. But there's one more challenge. And this is a rancher-only challenge. It's a knockout challenge, as we had to do on my season with the tennis balls. You have to pump water into what they call a Q barrel, drag it on up a quarter-mile hill, and dump the water in someone else's bucket in order to knock them out. Now, the winner of this gets the only vote at this elimination. It's a prize, but it's also kind of a curse. But they all decided that since Irene was the only one there who had actually gone under the yellow line before and faced elimination, she was the one who could get the prize, you know, in order to see how that feels to be on the other side of the line. So it was kind of nice. They all worked together in order to get Irene that prize. And it was a real feel-good team feeling that they had. It seems like the ranchers are really bonding pretty well. Now, on to the weigh-in. Now, the unknowns are on video to the ranchers of their weigh-ins. Another phenomenal weigh-in. Austin, 15 pounds. Q, 19 pounds. Moses, 64 pounds total so far. That's unbelievable. They're pulling great numbers. And it seems like that talk really helped with people like Austin and Q. It just really helped just motivate them and spur them on. Now, you have Aqua Team weigh in. They're 13 pounds. You know, Courtney wasn't that happy with her 6 pounds. But, you know, she's going to keep it rolling. I know she's a strong girl. She's going to keep it rolling, you know. Hopefully it's enough to keep her around. Because they have that extra 2-pound advantage. Irene, 8 pounds by herself. That keeps her above the yellow line and keeps her here for another week. Jen and Jay, 22-pound total. Another phenomenal weigh-in from the green team. Jay, 14 pounds. He almost hit that 15 pounds that he wanted. He had that number written, 349. 1 pound away, but I know he's going to get that next week because this should be enough for them to stick around. Arthur and Jesse weigh in. Jesse, great week for him. Pulls a 9. Arthur only pulls a 4. I mean, he couldn't really get in the gym. He had some problems where he had to do workouts in the pool. So at a 13-pound total for such a heavy team like that, that's going to be really tough to stay above the line. And they're really worried that one of them is going to go home. Hannah and Olivia, they pull good numbers, same as last week, 6 and 6. And they're so much happier about the 6s this week than they did last week. Because they're celebrating their accomplishments. And that also it keeps them above the yellow line for a 12-pound total. And the only thing that's going to save Arthur and Jesse right now is if something happens to the black team. But, you know, they work hard. We'll see what happens. They step up there. My jaw dropped when I saw this. Dan and Don both gained 9 pounds. There's no way you gain 9 pounds in the ranch and something didn't go on. They said they don't know what happened. Bob really didn't believe him. Like, honestly, I know they've been... I'd love to believe him, but being in the situation myself, there's no way you can gain 9 pounds in the ranch and not throw the weigh in or some other factor is at hand because you want to go home. They've expressed desire to go home before. They just punched their own ticket. You know, as sad as I really hope that they do well at home. You know, comes the elimination. And Irene has said that she grew up without a father figure. Her father wasn't around a lot. And she wants Dan to go home with his 9-year-old daughter to make sure she has a father figure and set things right. And she grants his wish. You know, I really wish Dan the best. You know what? It seems like you're there for a long time, but it really isn't a long time. You're there for a matter of months. In the grand scheme of things, over the years that you're killing yourself with this obesity, sacrificing a couple months will save you years down the road. And I really, really sincerely hope that Dan does well at home for himself and his family. And, that's my recap for episode 3. It's been a doozy of a season so far. I'm excited to watch this thing every single week. And I'll be coming at you guys every week. Let me know what's going on.